You are watching Dime a Dozen on MTGO Academy featuring Jason Moore.
Hi folks, this is Jason Moore here with MTGOacademy.com. Welcome to Dime a Dozen, and this is the first video series I've put together in a long time here. It's been quite a while, and this was requested that I start providing a little bit more video content, and that's a little tricky for me at times, but I'm more than happy to do it when I can. We've just finished up playing in an 8-man here with Mono Green Stompy. Now, the reason I like playing Mono Green Stompy, not only is it a proactive beatdown deck with a lot of play to it and some fairly broken draws that it can have and some very tricksy kind of plays that it can make, but one of the biggest reasons I like playing it is because of this card right here, Nest Invader. And I love this card. I'm having a lot of fun playing Nest Invader in Stompy. It does a number of things for us. In addition to being a threat, and in addition to providing extra mana for us, it also gives us an automatic means of turning on Hunger of the Howl Pack, which is a 3+1/+1 counters on any creature. So your typical Stompy threats that you see, including Silhana Ledgewalker, turn into very, very difficult to deal with imminent threats. So what is this deck? If you're not familiar with it, it's a low curve beatdown deck with not a lot of reach, basically none, outside of maybe Viridian Longbow in our sideboard. Plays a very low land curve, 17 forests in this case, and Quirion Ranger to help with the mana at times. Quirion Ranger is actually a big deal in this deck, one of the best utility creatures we have access to. But you're looking to play 2-power creatures for 1 mana. You're also looking to follow up with resilient or troublesome creatures. So we have River Boa, which is unblockable against the blue decks of the format Delver. It's also unblockable against Domain Zoo when they resolve Annihilus Presence. Vault Scourge can be very terrifying against other aggressive decks because it has lifelink. So when we pump this up with any of our 16 pump spells, it helps us win races very easily. I mentioned Ledgewalker. It's our only hexproof creature, and it's pseudo-unblockable. So this is the one we like to Voltron quite a bit, and she leads to a lot of our victories. Coming back to Quirion Ranger, this not only adds mana for us when we don't have another land to play, it triggers landfall for Groundswell, which is one of our pump spells. I know I'm going all over the place, but bear with me. You probably know what this deck does, so I don't think I need to get too in-depth with everything. But so she helps us get +4/+4 out of our Groundswells. She also helps untap our guys so that we can block. We can do like a surprise block. And by the way, Nettle Sentinel also untaps whenever you cast a green spell. So he's very good on defense as well. And he's pretty good with Gleeful Sabotage when you use Conspire. You tap him for the Conspire, and as the spell is still on the stack, really, he's going to untap automatically. So it's like using Conspire with just one guy tapping. So back to Quirion Ranger, she can target opposing creatures. So Phantasmal Bear or something like that will actually just get straight vindicated by her. So she's a pretty awesome creature, especially just for green. So some of the things about this deck, I like playing it. I really like playing beatdown or anything proactive in this format. I've just naturally been more successful with that for whatever reason. But I have to admit, and the reason I took this deck into the 8-man is because I've been playing with it the most. I decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to, for now, just settle on one deck in Pauper and play it a lot, and hopefully I can get some results that way. Now, the flip side of that is the fact that this deck sometimes does piss me off. And I say that because right now there are a number of matchups that I really don't want to face. Basically, mono black. I think Is It Control as well. That's the deck that's running Delver, Muldrifter, Seagate Oracle, and about 10 removal spells alongside Counterspell and Exclude. So they have Flame Slash, Firebolt, Electrostatic Bolt. Pretty much any deck that can have a draw of 3 removal spells in a row early to kill every threat you play, makes it very hard to win. Now, this deck has a lot of really absurd draws, including a turn 3, you can Ledge Walker. I've had turn 3 Ledge Walker, made her a permanent 7/7 with, so basically, turn 1, anything. Turn 2, Nest Invader. Turn 3, play your land. Sack your token and play a forest, and tap the forest to make the Ledge Walker. Then double Hunger of the Howl Pack, make her a permanent 7/7, hexproof, pretty much unblockable. That's very hard for anybody to beat. Things like Vines of Vastwood, which is an excellent pump spell, not only gives +4/+4, not only gives our guys hexproof for the turn, but also can be used on opposing creatures. And that is actually relevant. You'll see in one of the matches that comes up. For a number of reasons that can be relevant. Pretty good in the mirror to turn off whatever pump spell they have. So this is a counter spell in this deck. Sometimes you see cards like this, Brave the Elements, in other formats like Standard. A lot of the times these cards function as simply counter spells for a single mana. So that's really, really good to have. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling. The sideboard here is the weakest part of the deck, but we've got a little bit of everything, so to speak, I suppose. I mean, we have contingencies for affinity. This also can deal with Spire Golems. It can deal with problematic auras, removal spells like Journey to Nowhere, Curse of Chains, etc. We have Hornet Sting. The reason Hornet Sting is in here is primarily because there's a chance we end up facing Standard Bearer. Now, that's become less and less likely in my experience. I actually, since I've been playing with this deck over the past few weeks, haven't run into a Standard Bearer. But if she resolves and gets on the table, we're really hosed. This was originally 3, but I've decided Longbow is just really, really good when we have Quirion Ranger to untap the guy, so we get multiple activations, which you may have seen me when I played Elves way back when. That was relevant in one of the matches at some point against Delver. Scattershot Archer also against Delver. Any type of Squadron Hawk deck. So I bring this in against Domain Zoo, I believe. I can't remember if I brought him in. I think I did, because they play Squadron Hawks as well. Spore Frog is the all-star of the sideboard. This guy saved my hide so many times against other aggressive strategies. Slivers, you'll see it come up in our first match, actually. But I bring him in more than anything else. And then lastly, Thermokarst, which can be brought in against Tron decks as well as Karoo lands in the familiar combo deck. And this is a little more realistic to cast, even though we only have 17 forests because we have our 2 mana producers. So, mono green Stompy with Nest Invader. Now, only time will tell. How does this 8-man go? Do we run into those terrible matchups and just get laughed off the stage? Or do we actually do something with this deck and actually stomp some opponents out? You're going to have to watch to find out. And until next time, this is Jason Moore with MTGO Academy signing off.